analysis would indicate the market is not done diving? Where would you project the bottom of this sell-off to be with a time frame? Do you know? We'll go ahead and revisit that here on Twitter, AltcoinBuzzIO, if you want to go check out the answers to what people are saying. But if you just look at the market here, back below 400 billion, and if we look at the chart, you can see that we're still indicating a dive. We need to break this resistance point. It'll be nice to break the $500 billion market cap, but once we go past 500 billion, then we'll need to pass 550 billion, but thereabouts 589 billion. So in order to really be what I would consider close to getting out of the woods would be around $600 billion market cap. Obviously a long ways away from that being at 200 billion, but one thing's for darn sure, cryptocurrency market moves fast, either direction. We've seen this market move. I've seen it move $150 billion in a day. So upwards. So these swings do happen. Now, people are trying to speculate what's going on here. Before I go ahead and dive into some of this research that's out there on the internet, first thing I want to say is that at this time frame, we have the Lunar New Year affecting it. We have tax season. Who knows what whales are cashing out trying to pay their taxes, right? Okay, that's just speculation, but you can assume something like that could be taking place. You also have FUD from many bankers who are just compounding and taking advantage of this. And let's go ahead and take a look at some of these banks that are doing this. Well, you have Chase, Bank of America, Citigroup, all ban cryptocurrency purchases on credit cards. Okay, so credit cards, that's not debit cards, right? Debit cards and credit cards are different. So what they don't want to have happen is people rack up a big credit card, so go buy a bunch of Bitcoin on credit cards and then not be able to pay it back. Because people will do something like that. They'll be like, well, I got all this credit, I got $15,000 credit line, I need to go get some Bitcoin while it's on this dip. So that's why they're cracking down. But Britain's biggest bank has become the first to announce ban on customers using credit cards to buy Bitcoin amid fears they could run up huge losses. So is this irrational from the banks? Not really, because reckless people out there who would just think that it's completely cool to rack up big credit card bills that they might not be able to pay back. So here we go. Lloyd's Banking Group will on Monday tell its 9 million credit card customers that it will block any attempts to buy Bitcoin after the digital currency lost more than half of its value in just 2 months. So I think it's realistic on their end to make this decision. Now, if they said debit cards, that would be concerning. So credit cards and debit cards are two different things. So just be conscious of that. Now, if we're just sitting here looking at GDAX, there's a lot of red coming in here, but there's red there, but now we're seeing a flood of green. So, which is typical. You know, you'll watch a lot of green here, and then you'll watch a lot of red here. So, I mean, even if you're trying to day trade these kind of things right here, which I would not recommend to any newbies, but to the intermediate people trying to day trade here, you know, watching there's people making money doing this. Bitcoin going, you know, they'll buy at 8,000, they'll swing to 9, they'll dump again, put back in at 8, and they'll just keep peeling off the top. But they got big money. They're not people with $100 here and there, okay? And I'm not advocating for anybody to try and do that because we don't know where the bottom of this thing is. But it's finding a great deal of support around 8,000. But keep in mind, there's all those variables at play, and just if you take into consideration tax season, what? It doesn't close until April 15th in the United States. So be prepared to hang in there, right? And if it means waiting till April 15th or just after April, are you willing to wait that long, or are you being impatient? This is kind of the way to approach it. And, you know, we posted this here on Instagram, this market dive, you know. It's saying hold on, because that's what it feels like, a free fall, like when you ever go skydiving. Now let's take a look at some of these comments. So what are you guys saying out there? I'm beyond caring right now. I haven't checked prices in the past 3 days. I'm just spending time with family and working on other projects. Good for him. Here's Crypto Sarah. She's on Altcoin Buzz. Ladies, Aprilish time. Had time for an in-depth look into the history, and that's my bet. Okay, so Sarah on Altcoin Buzz is saying that. Tuesday, on the heads of the Feds, we actually have to depend on them to not deliver catastrophic news. Always buy and sell low. CNBC showed us, Tommy. Honestly, I'm sick of checking my portfolio. I'm pretty sure that until April, nothing exciting will happen, so I'm going to wait in vacation. Sayonara. All right. Ignoring. If BTC goes to 1,000, I'll still hold alt and buy 5 BTC, not chasing me away. I don't know. Never buy on the dive. I buy at the bottom of the cup. So he's waiting for the bottom of the cup. I think FUD is going to drive this thing until after Tuesday's court hearing. Way too much speculation going on. BTC feeling a little like Rocky, taking way too many Drago combos lately from all angles. Yeah, I mean, this market has been getting hit left and right. And it, like I said, YouTube is just one medium for discussion here. You have news media, which does publications. You have or publications online, like, CNN and Bloomberg and whatnot, just the .coms. Then you have the news media on the television. Then you have Reddit. So there's also you have the radio, podcast. There's all sorts of ways for people to get all this information about what the current events are that's driving the market price down. And if we just look at this more, I wanted to revisit this because it keeps catching my attention. This is on Gizmodo. Some of the world's largest banks announced Friday that customers are now prohibited from buying cryptocurrencies with credit cards, citing market volatility. We already touched on this, but blah, blah, blah. At this time, we are not processing cryptocurrency purchases using credit cards due to volatility and risk involved, a Chase spokesperson. We will review the issue as the market evolves. So Capital One banned credit card purchases on cryptocurrencies last month, and Discover has had a ban in effect since 2015. Per Bloomberg, the bans are designed to prevent customers from making hugely risky purchases on their credit lines or scammers from buying cryptocurrency and disappearing. So you can't blame the banks. But if this is what's really driving the price down on Super Bowl Sunday, I think it's a bit wild. But definitely taking a hit here lately. You guys are really hanging in there, I know. I'm far from an analyst, but if we look at some linear line, we might be looking at 300 billion for the solid support once again. I'm far from an analyst, just looking at the graph. So this is Dr. Tai168. Very intelligent comment that he's making. He's not a jokester. He's not a goofball. Obviously, we like joking around and goofing off, but when it's a serious question, he's providing serious answers. So let's see so he's looking at this support right here, I guess. That's where the $300 billion range is. The real true support for this market is just below 200 billion, though. That's where the real true support is for this market. You can see why, right? That was back in October, or early November or October. And don't be surprised if we have to visit that. That's not what anyone wants to hear, but once it hits that, then it can stabilize and begin its ascent back up. So let's take a look at some more. The bottom was 348 billion, only goes up over the next couple weeks. Okay, so investor next door says that 350 billion bottoming out. Micro Radar, 270 billion, 5K 2 weeks, then bull run to 50K. A lot of this is just people making assumptions, right? Great, more sales before the takeoff. Yeah, I mean, I'm I'll tell you, I'm definitely looking at some of these sale prices. Some of these coins that I haven't been involved in. Oh, red candle just came up. See, but there's a lot of green here. So as this green pours into the market, it's funny because people are watching Super Bowl, but the market's moving so much. It goes to show you how much the rest of the world could give two hoots about Super Bowl, right? At this point, Neo, man, keeps diving. And that's crazy because Neo and Ethereum were holding tight, and now it just decided to join into the melee. Let's see. Lisk is holding right now, but don't hold your breath. Icon. This Icon is definitely, if you've been trying to get into Icon, that's a heck of a price right there. Wow. It's holding. I don't know if it's necessarily at, if this thing fell off big time, yikes. Nano's looking real nice at this price, but it's in a free fall. I would say I'm going to consider Nano, buying more Nano below $10. Between Nano and Icon, those are the two that are coming up on my radar. But that could all change. It's just because if I'm looking at the amount that they've fallen off here recently, VeChain, 20%, 26% for Nano. Populous had a nice price, and now it's just hit. Between these two, you see they're over 22%. These have some of the highest fall offs, and then if you look at the 7-day, they also have some of the highest, and they're solid cryptocurrency communities, but the tech is yet to be discovered as to whether or not they're going to actually be able to keep up in their respective sectors. Nano, formerly known as Ryblox, by the way, a currency that expects to keep up with Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash. And oh man, Siacoin. What else has fallen off pretty steep? Yeah, Electronium. Electronium at 3 cents is an outstanding buy. If it goes to 3 cents, I will buy more Electronium at 3 cents, especially this Ethos. Still not quite at a point where it's got my attention to buy more, but I like it. Just a lot of opportunities here. Wow, 10x. Wow. Wax. Oh my gosh. Wax is getting waxed. Even Quant